my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer, by night, and am not silent. You know, faith has been something that is like a part of my very being since I was born, and I've always chosen to be part of the Christian tradition. It's never been something that's been forced on me. Like, I love God and I love people, and during the time that I came to St. John the Divine, like, something inside of that for me just was broken, and I couldn't get it back. And I don't say that flippantly, like I didn't want to get it back. Like, I really couldn't find it. Prior to coming to St. John the Divine, I was on staff at a small non-denominational church in Sugar Land, and the pandemic hit, and I was already kind of thinking about a transition. I was about halfway through my seminary degree at the time, and knew that I was kind of ready for the next step, and I think I was praying a lot about that, and during the pandemic, it was just really clear that that was the time. I wasn't really just going through a job transition, but during the time that I came to St. John the Divine, I was going through a real painful spiritual drought, I guess I could say, or loss of faith. I was leaving a more like pastoral ministry job. I was a student pastor and coming here to be an administrative worker. I work in the Connect ministry with Kim, and you're right, like on paper, it's not very much like a ministerial role. And so I think I thought, you know, I mentioned I was applying at non-ministry jobs. Like, I really, during this dark time for me, like I was a little scared to be in ministry because it wasn't necessarily a safe place. One of the things that I think I thought needed to happen was that I would need to get all of that fixed in my head first, or get right with myself, or get right with God, or fix my faith, or whatever that was. And then maybe the energy or the call to be part of the community and part of ministry would come. I felt like something inside of me had broken, and I would need to fix that. And for me, it really was like my faith was genuinely like broken. Like, I could not figure it back out, and I was in seminary. Like, I don't know what else you do with that. If I remember when I came in the first time I visited the table, I remember just hearing Reverend Louise preach for the first time, and the way that I was greeted, and the sense that this is not just a church community that is gathered, but a church community that's gathered and going somewhere. One of the things specifically about being at St. John the Divine, about being here, was that I didn't need to be fixed first, that I could be here and be part of the community and participate, and that maybe in the being that there was a difference in order, and that the being in and of itself was a type of healing. And I remember when I first heard that, I definitely just brushed that off. Like, that's not the kind of thing that you want to hear when something inside of you is broken or you're grieving like I was, but oh my goodness, was that true? There's this sense that we often feel that we need to do it all first or be right first, and then we get to meet God. But how beautiful that I really got to experience something that I believe to be true about God here, is that he comes to us first, and that it's in his coming that even when we feel broken or closed down or shut off or running, that the just showing up is all that anything needs, that the Holy Spirit needs to just rush in and do a work in a way that I never would have expected or thought or could have done on my own. So spring 2022 was my final semester in seminary with my Master's of Divinity. And it also was my first Lent. I'm practicing Lent, and with the Door, we were doing these weekly live streams where we were talking about the idea of a Lenten wilderness. And like, a wilderness is a great way to explain the closed down or shut off or broken faith that I had been feeling. And so now all of a sudden I'm closing out this huge undertaking that I had done in seminary. And I'm like literally spiritually processing that in community with people as I'm leading these meditations. And this time in the wilderness is culminated by, at the sunrise service, like the sun is coming up and the birds are chirping and the like fire, the first light fire is being lit. And I found myself with no hesitation proclaiming and talking about the joy of the resurrection and how nothing had changed my life in a greater way. And that's not something I could have said 2.5 years ago in that wilderness. And it was like that morning, on Easter morning in 2022, I felt not just that I was celebrating the resurrection of Christ, but like my faith had been resurrected. And I didn't see, I mean, I should have seen it coming, but like that will be such a special Easter for me forever, to go through a season of wilderness and resurrection in the same pattern that Christ does, and in the same pattern of Christians for 2,000 years, and in the same pattern of Christians at my church family. Like faith is not about me, it's about us. And I have never felt that more than that Easter morning, looking out and being just with my church family as that was happening. And it was really special. I think anytime that you come into a place, I think we have a decision to close ourselves down or to open ourselves up and be willing to be changed. I came in with a framework that was a little closed. Came here to hide. But I've never felt so opened by being in a place. I've not felt an opening like this that's also a filling of joy, filling of purpose, filling of excitement, really at any other point in my life. And I do think that that is in large part something that I attribute to being here at St. John the Divine. I don't know that that is something that just happens everywhere, and there's a lot of intentionality in our parishioners and our volunteer leaders and our staff and our clergy that contributes to that.